Hello there everybody, welcome back to another episode of Sitting Down with Soul Writer. I'm Jenna O'Malley, your soul writer, author of sci-fi fantasy with dashes of romance and nerdy references. Alongside the raw stories my characters weave through time, I help other writers tell their soul stories through editing and coaching so that we can help other writers and our readers heal collectively, no matter how big or small their platforms are. Today, we're going to go ahead and look at who did I decide to go with as my distributor, or my outlet rather, for wide placement with the Myrna Annals. So Bound by Fate and Blood and Bound by Oath and Heart are now available for wide purchase, and let's look at some pros and cons between Draft2Digital and IngramSpark. Let's get started. Welcome back everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Don't forget to check the like, sub, and comment buttons as you need throughout this video. So we're going to go ahead and check the pros first and foremost of Draft2Digital and IngramSpark side by side, and then we'll look at the cons of the two side by side and who I went with and why. So, little heads up, this was a path that I've been on for a very long time. I almost went with one, and very recently changed my mind completely after seeing the experience of fellow Kickstarter authors going through things with these two companies and others. So I did have other options to consider. We're not going to go over them today. Draft2Digital's pros. It is another option besides Amazon, just as much as IngramSpark is. It does have different outlets to all of your common sellers, just like IngramSpark does, right? You can do it to pretty much anywhere as far as like Barnes & Nobles, Kobo, libraries even are involved here, right? So recently, Draft2Digital also acquired Smashwords. As somebody who started her writing journey as a fan fiction author way back when, yes, I'm going to own up to that, there is a very ingrained serialized writing format in my brain, and I'm coming back to it. It kind of feels like coming home. So knowing that Smashwords and other entities that kind of have that serialized audience already playing into them are part of Draft2Digital is a really good perk. Plus, of course, there's that books to read link where they give you a common link for all of your different platforms. One link for wide is definitely a sanity saver in my opinion. IngramSpark is a lot like Draft2Digital, but I think they're the old dude on the block or the hip kid on the block, however you want to use that terminology as is appropriate to your society and culture. They definitely have their perks. Again, they're an industry standby for many reasons. They did have a lot of changes in their pricing structures and in other methods of how they operate over the last year though. If you want to check out more specific information, I have linked a video. Please do check those videos in the description box below. Those two have a lot of the same pros, okay? There's a lot of vetting going on over to pick the newer kid on the block or the old standby, right? Kind of like trying to pick between Pepsi and Coke. You have your fans and you have your loves of both. I'm not looking to take any personal hits while going through this. This is just my observation and experience I've gained with the cons through other people's eyes. So of course with Draft2Digital, my biggest con for them was their minimum payout windows. For somebody who is starting relatively small on the indie sprocket and not bringing too many people from Amazon with these books for wide placement, there's definitely a much bigger learning curve. I'm totally for it. Learning curves are okay. And we'll talk more about what I'm doing to gear up momentum to get people interested in my wide in a future video. So check out for that in October. That was my biggest gripe though with Draft2Digital. Just their payout terms and conditions was a little frustrating for a smaller indie author. I did have hesitation originally with IngramSpark, on the other hand, because they had that upfront cost, whereas Draft2Digital took out their funds after you made money by comparison a little bit more. Since IngramSpark has readjusted their infrastructure and how they do paying things check those 2 videos I mentioned earlier. They did kind of, inch a little bit ahead of Draft2Digital with me for a while, I'll admit, because they went with their 0 fees. I was getting a lot of coupons in order to, do a free book upload and whatnot, and I would have been okay. And then I did my Kickstarter. A lot of people love IngramSpark and vet IngramSparks deeply, but at the same time, a lot of Kickstarter authors I've worked with have reported issues with product in paperback and hardback form coming severely damaged from people in the warehouses, basically just not packaging it well. I will admit I have experienced this with other book distributors and print-on-demand entities myself over the years, be it Amazon, Lulu, or whoever. It's kind of, you can't control who gets to package your order and whether or not they actually care to do a good job that day. That isn't necessarily entirely always the company's fault that someone took a bad day out on packaging your things necessarily, right? But after seeing so many of my fellow Kickstarter authors be put in I have to push back my distribution date lurch modes over this, I said, you know what? I think I need to reconsider. So I decided I would try Draft2Digital first for that main reason, and it's a very close tie. We're talking if I were to give it a percentile to tell you how close it is, it's 55 to 45 kind of deal. Literally, Draft2Digital and IngramSparks were step and step betting and fighting for which would be my major outlet, and I ended up choosing Draft2Digital only because of experiences I've seen through other people's eyes. So, be it as it may, I'm going to therefore have to say you have to make a decision for yourself. Therefore, since I linked a couple of videos about IngramSpark, it's only fair that I link a couple of videos from other authors about Draft2Digital, give you 2 of each for comparison. They are also linked in the description box below as well. I therefore challenge my fellow wide authors who are reconsidering their wide distributor and placement, or even to people like me who are just stepping into wide for the first time, to do a little bit more research and make a decision that is appropriate for you. Thank you very much for sitting here with me today. We do have a couple of other videos coming up about my series that is wide. We had one yesterday, we have some more coming up. So thank you so much for being here today. If there's anything you are interested in for editing coach or writing coach wise, go ahead and check the description for my links for that. And I hope to see you here for some live writing sprints on Fridays and Saturdays on the routine. Preptober's on the horizon, NaNoWriMo's on the horizon, and I'm here to cheer you on through telling your soul's story. Above all, take care of yourself. I know you're worth it. Bye, Soul Writer out.